man, it hurts because right there, I understand you try to save money. I get it. I respect it. Saving 7 grand, 7 to 10 grand is very important. But right there, a CMA simply compares your property, your square footage of your property with other properties. It does not price in the inside of your home. It does not price the inside of your home. But because you underpriced your home when you listed it, because you only went off whatever the 12 market analysis report said, right? You chose kind of the best price. You already underpriced your home, and now you're underpricing your home again by having a buyer who can't compete in the market come in and offer you a low price. So you have to negotiate with them again. My name is Andy. Today we'll be reacting to a video on how to sell a house without a realtor. Let's just jump into it.
Fixing up the house. You know that super long list of house projects that your wife has been bugging you about for the last 6 months? Now is the time to do all of those things on that list, but as soon as possible. We were so anxious to get our house up on the market, but we realized it just wasn't in the best shape yet to be ready to sell it. We spent almost every single night after work fixing up the house, and oftentimes entire days on the weekends just doing all the different little things that we needed to do. I mean, we were replacing dented pieces of trim, we were pulling weeds in the yard, we were painting and puttying holes in all the walls. I mean, just all the little nicks and dings that were kind of an eyesore to other people. We wanted to make sure all of that got done. Now, the key here, when you're fixing everything up, the idea is not to go overboard here. You want to fix the immediate little things that you know people are going to notice right away when they walk into your house, but you don't need to go crazy. Here's something that I recommend if you don't feel that you can accurately tell what people are going to find as kind of a negative or a con for your house. So what I recommend is getting a friend and have them take a notepad and have them walk through your house and write down every little thing that they see and kind of catches their eye as an eyesore. Now, I know
I would recommend that instead of doing that, you just simply go on Zillow. Go on Zillow, look at the prices of homes that are comparable to yours, and look at the pictures. Look at what they're doing with that home. Look how nice it looks. If you have a house that's selling in your neighborhood that's kind of similar to your house, go to an open house, visit an open house and take a look at the house. See how other people presented their homes. Don't get another party involved because the other party will just be biased and you don't want just one opinion about your home. Just kind of look around. I would say look around at different homes that sold or selling and just kind of see what's presentable or not.
This might be kind of hard for someone to go through your house and talk about everything bad with your house, but I guarantee that when you're selling your house, it's really difficult to separate yourself emotionally. And so if you can have somebody come in, tell them to be brutally honest with you and mark down all the little things that they see, then you're going to have a lot better idea of what prospective buyers are going to be seeing at the same time. Step number 2 is to get something called a comparable market analysis, or a CMA. What this is it's just a report that goes through and tells you what your house is worth compared to other houses in your area. And typically it's a really small area, like the street that you live on and maybe 2 or 3 streets away, just what the home prices are doing in that specific area. Real estate prices are hyper local, so we don't really care about what home prices are doing across town or what your best friend a mile or 2 miles away sold their house for. What we care about is the housing prices in your specific neighborhood because they do vary that widely. All too often, I see FSBO sellers not do CMAs and they just list their house for whatever they think it's worth and not what it's actually worth. See, people get so attached to their homes, like they're so emotionally invested in it that they list it super high and then it sits on the market forever and they wonder why their house doesn't sell. And the longer the house sits on the market, the more people think something's wrong with that house. It's been sitting on the market for 4 months and it's not sold yet. So CMAs are super important and they're totally free and they can be done by any real estate agent. Now, you might be asking yourself, hold on a second. I thought we weren't using a realtor. And you're right, we're not. But a CMA can be done by any realtor, and they're happy to do it for you because they're hoping that eventually you'll change your mind and you'll actually list your house with them. So what I want you to do is to call up several, probably 10 to 12 different realtors in your area and ask for a CMA. And be very, very clear and specific with them and tell them that you are not interested in listing with them. You're only looking for a CMA. The very first CMA that came in was $15,000 lower than all of the other CMA. We would have left a ton of money on the table. So make sure that you get multiple.
Realtors don't price homes. Yes, we want to believe that. I want to be good at that. I want to say, hey, I know what the price of your home is. We want to do that, but no, we don't price your homes. We can give you a range. Hey, your home is worth anywhere from 400 to 430. That's it. That's all I can do. Okay? The market determines the real price.
Now, there is no way that I could cover all the aspects of staging a home in just a short video like this. In fact, it would probably require a super long entire video all by itself. Plus, there are probably infinitely better videos than I could ever do talking about the subject of staging your house. But the point that I really want to get across is just to clear the clutter, clear all of the crap out of your house. You just want to get everything really minimal, really clean and plain Jane. So get rid of everything on kitchen counters. Just leave the bare essentials. Get rid of coffee pots, move toasters off of the countertops. In bathrooms, you want to make sure that you get everything off the counters as well.
For pictures, yes, but imagine putting that back and forth every time there's a showing. He'll be so tired. Are you kidding me? I don't have time to do that. If I was a for sale by owner and I'm trying to sell a home myself, imagine putting things back. Okay, putting things away because you're like, okay, buyer's coming. Like, you'll be so tired. Don't do that. Buyers don't care.
Now, I cannot stress this heavily enough to you, but you cannot, under any circumstances, use your cell phone to take your own photos. I realize that the whole point we're trying to sell our homes by ourselves is to save money, but the photography is not the place to do that. So take a look.
So I'll skip through this. I agree. Make sure to get a good photographer. If you know a good photographer that takes pictures for real estate, call them, pay $300-400, whatever that needs to happen. You want to have solid, good pictures. So I totally agree with that.
And you won't regret it. Step number 5 is to finally list your home. We are finally to the fun part. We get to list the house. Now is the time to get your house out to as many listing websites as possible. That means Zillow, Facebook, Craigslist, anything that you can think of just to get the house out there onto the market. The first thing that you'll need to do is get a property description. So start combing through Zillow just to kind of get an idea of what people are saying about their houses. You want to go through and you want to list all the unique things about your house that really sets it apart. Do you have a deck on the back, or do you have vaulted?
So I'm going to mention this because a lot of for sale by owners use Zillow, and great. Zillow is a great platform. Don't get me wrong. Zillow is incredible. But here's the biggest problem with listing your house on Zillow. You ready? So when you list it on Zillow, an average consumer that looks for a house cannot see your house. He has to go in, press on for sale, and make sure that button that says by owner is on, or turn everything off and just leave that button for owner on, okay, to find your home. So already you're doing injustice to yourself and your listing. Second, a lot of people that do find your house, right? Let's say a realtor, you're a for sale by owner, and a realtor calls you and says, hey, I have a buyer for you. I want to bring them by. A lot of times, that buyer is the buyer who cannot compete in this market. So it's someone who's like, hey, I looked at everything that's on the market. I cannot find a house for myself because everything's just too expensive. I want to just stop looking. I'll continue renting, right? And what the realtor does, it says, hey, you know what? Let's go take a look at some for sale by owners. Let me see what I can find you. Let me see if I can find you a for sale by owner that's selling their home. Because guess what? When there's a for sale by owner, we can always negotiate the price. For sale by owners always negotiate the price if they want to sell. If they don't want to sell, they're just like, hey, let's just see if I can get this price amount because this is what I want. Because the buyers that you're getting as a for sale by owners are low income buyers that are not really willing to pay a full price on the market for a house. I mean, honestly, that's what you're getting. So right there, yes, you save the money by not hiring a realtor. Let's say you saved $7,000, right? $7,000 to $10,000, but because you underpriced your home when you listed it, because you only went off whatever the 12 market analysis report said, right? You chose kind of the best price. You already underpriced your home, and now you're underpricing your home again by having a buyer who can't compete in the market come in and offer you a low price. So by this time, you're already losing over $15,000. So, and all you wanted to do was save some money to not list it with a realtor.
That really makes your house stand out, be sure to mention those in the description. But even more important than the description itself are two things that I'm going to highlight. On the screen, you'll see a copy of the exact description that we used when we sold our house. But that's not the most important thing. Pay attention to the very first two lines of the description. So first, we want to specifically clarify in our listing that buyer's agents are welcome. Whoa there, Bryce. I thought we weren't using realtors. You're right. We are not, but 95% of the buyers out there will be using realtors. Whenever you're a buyer, you actually don't pay the realtor commissions. All of the commissions for the realtor, how they get paid is when the property itself sells.
So sure, yes. So as a seller, right? You're technically quote unquote paying the commission, but you're also pricing in what you need to pay the buyer in that price. So technically, the buyer is paying the commission, not the seller, the buyer. If you're listing a house, right, and you want to net $300,000, that's how much you want to net. You will price a lot higher because you know you have to pay a buyer's agent. And who pays that? The buyer. Seller technically not pays the commission.
The seller will pay the commissions for both your realtor and their realtor if they use one. If we don't offer some sort of compensation for the buyer's realtor, they'll actually shy their client away from showing your house, even if it would be perfect for them, because they're not going to get paid. Why would they do work if they're not going to get paid? The second thing that you'll want to note is actually your phone number. Make sure that that's in the description itself. I mean, yeah, you want.
Quick point about that. Don't put your real number on there. I mean, scammers will call you, a bunch of realtors will call you, investors will call you. Get like an app called Sideline, or I think there's an app called Burner, and you can get a second number and just direct people to that number. That's what I would do. I would go crazy if I listed my real number. It's ridiculous. So my advice: never list your real number.
You want people to know how to get a hold of you, but this actually helps you in more ways than one. Look at this FSBO listing. So in this listing, the people forgot to put their phone number in the description. If we scroll all the way down, keep going all the way down, Zillow will put the homeowner's phone number as the very last contact on the listing, the very last one. They put all of these other phone numbers in here. They make it look like they're the people representing the house, but they're not. These are actually paid advertisements from real estate brokers in the area to be listed in that slot. And the sad thing is that it works. Yours is the very, very last phone number here, and so obviously it's going to get looked over. Once we finally list the house, we've got the property description, we've got your contact information, you're ready to go. Your listing is finally officially out there. Step number 6 is to begin dealing with realtors.
So I never heard him mention anything about marketing. Putting your house on a website or on Facebook is not marketing at all. Realtors spend sometimes, depends on the realtor. That's why you have to really be open with them and ask them what they do for marketing. A lot of realtors will spend up to $5,000 in marketing fees.
Within 2 to 3 days, or maybe even less, you're going to start getting phone calls from realtors. But sadly, these are not the phone calls that you're looking for.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
These are going to be realtors who are hoping that they can list your home with them so that they can earn a commission. When we listed our house, we probably had half a dozen realtors call us, and they tried to use all these scare tactics that said, hey, did you know that 942% of all real estate lawsuits begin with for sale by owners? Right. Like I said, it's just a scare tactic. All these agents want is a commission. Just politely tell them that you're fine, you're going to try and sell it yourself, and that if for some reason you can't sell it yourself, then maybe you'll consider listing with them. Sooner rather than later, you will finally start to get phone calls trickling in with people who actually want to show your house to their clients. Set up a time with them where they can bring their client over.
Calls from investors and a few calls from buyers. But again, keep in mind, you probably have a full-time job. You have to go and basically dissect and analyze every single call, make sure you don't miss anything, make sure no one is lying to you, because realtors will also tell you, hey, I have a buyer. By the way, if they tell you that they have a buyer, make sure that the realtor either shows up with a buyer or they bring a pre-approval letter.
We'll finally start to get phone calls trickling in with people who actually want to show your house to their clients. Set up a time with them where they can bring their client over to your house, show them the property, but make sure that you do it within 24 hours or so if you can. Anything longer than 36 hours, and it's likely that the buyers will move on to a different property.
Make sure that those buyers are pre-approved. Make sure that the realtor sends you a pre-approval letter from a lender or a bank that states exactly the price that they're pre-approved for. Because guess what? A lot of these buyers that are going through your home, if you're a for sale by owner, they're not even pre-approved for that price that you're selling it at.
You want to get them in the front door as fast as you can so that they don't move on to other listings. When you show your home, it is common practice for you as the homeowner not to be there during the showing. As long as they've got a realtor with them, the realtor will walk them through the house and they'll feel a lot more comfortable without you there hovering over them. They want to be able to do whatever they want. They want to look at the house without feeling rushed or judged or whatever. They want to be able to say whatever they want and just look at the house, at their own leisure. To make this process easier, what we did was we went to Lowe's or Home Depot. We bought a little lockbox and we put a spare key in there, and then we put the lockbox on the front door. Whenever a realtor calls you to set up a showing, just give them the code to the lockbox, set up a time, and then be sure to be gone before they show.
And make sure that the realtor emails you the pre-approval letter for that buyer before they show your home, or it's going to be just wasting your time.
Show up. Step number 7, finally, are the offers. The offers will start to come in slowly. When you have a buyer that comes back 2 or even 3 times to look at the house, you know that they're interested and you know that an offer is probably right around the corner. Looking over an offer is pretty straightforward. A realtor will probably send you an email and in it will be the offer. They'll send you the purchase price and any concessions, which means anything that the buyers want included in the sale of the house.
Sometimes realtors don't tell you what exactly they're asking for. They just have that in the offer. So you have to dissect the offer yourself and figure out what exactly they're asking. A lot of times, like he's saying, yeah, realtors will send you a little summer overview of what exactly that they're asking for and what their offer is with their offer attached. A lot of realtors will just send you an offer and you have to sit there and dissect and see exactly what the offer is asking.
And typically that's things like appliances or maybe some decorations. Maybe there's a fancy clock on the wall that they really love. You can group that into the contract if you want. At this point, you can choose to either accept or counter the offer. And I would say that in almost every single case, you should almost always counter their first initial offer. The initial offer is just a good starting point, and it'll probably take 2 to 3 counters back and forth to get things.
I told you that buyers that go for sale by owner, they never pay the full price. Never. They always negotiate. So are you making more money? No. You're coming down on that price. So yeah, you're negotiating, but you're probably negotiating $5,000 to $10,000 less than what you wanted initially.
And the appraisal. In most cases, the buyer has 10 business days to schedule an inspection with a property inspector. What they'll do is they'll set up a day and a time.
That's why it's very important to read the contract. In the contract, they might say longer, or they will say any number of days that they want. You have to be able to read the contract correctly.
An inspector will come over to your house, typically when you're not there, look at everything in the property. They're going to make sure that the plumbing.
And again, you could be there. So if you're a for sale by owner, right, and the buyer's agent says, hey, I have an inspector, want a scheduled inspection, you don't have to be not home. Just be home. Like, who cares? Let the inspector come in, do his thing, do what you would normally do, stay home. You don't have to leave. You don't have to inconvenience. Like, just be home. Like, who cares? Let them do the inspection.
Plumbing's in good, in good shape. The electrical is in good shape. The roof doesn't have any problems. The foundation isn't crumbling. It's just a routine check of everything so that the buyers know that they're getting a good house in good condition. And even if the house is in perfect condition, you'll almost always get a couple inspection items coming back. I mean, the inspector has to show that he's kind of done his job and just find at least a few things that he recommends to the buyers to potentially fix. So just be aware of that. Know that you probably will have 2 to 3 things to fix, and that's just to be expected. During about the same time that the inspection is going on, the bank will probably order an appraisal. All this is just a person that comes out to the property, they look at the house, and they just want to make sure that the money that the bank is lending the buyers, that the house is worth the amount of money that they're loaning to them. So they don't want to loan $200,000 to these buyers when the house is only worth $150,000. All it is just a safeguard to the bank that says that the money that they're loaning, it is worth the value of the house. Both of these expenses, both the inspection and the appraisal, they're covered by the buyer, but it is just a slight inconvenience because you'll have to figure out a day and a time that works with your schedule for these guys to come over and look at the house.
Again, you don't have to leave. Whatever they schedule, whatever time they schedule, great. You can be home for both inspection and appraisal. You don't have to leave your home.
Step number 9 is the title company. Typically, if you have a buyer with a buyer's agent, they take care of all of the title work for you. But the title company is actually the most important part. They're the one that actually facilitates the transaction of the deal and the moving of all the funds from, all the different parties involved. They also make sure that everything gets recorded properly, everything gets filled out properly. They make sure the deed to the property gets signed properly. And they also make sure that all of the county documents are signed properly and filled out and sent to the county recorder's office to be stored there and recorded. And finally, step 10, the last step to all of this is the closing process. Typically about 30 days after you sign the purchase and sale agreement.
By the way, step 9 will go on after you go into contract. So step 9 is kind of like in between everything else. It's happening in the background as you're doing the inspection. There's an appraisal, so it doesn't happen separately. It just happens during your whole time that you're in contract.
You'll set up a time to go and sign documents at the title company. Both you and the buyers, typically different times, but on the same day, will go and you'll sign a bunch of papers. Both of you guys are going to leave with carpal tunnel after signing all these papers, but you're going to hand over the keys to the house and they're going to hand over a check for the sale of the house. And then that's it. You're done. Once you have your check in hand and the documents are recorded at the county, the house is no longer yours and you're good to go. Ooh, okay. I'm tired. That is a long process, but I promise you it's not as daunting as it sounds. There's a lot of steps involved.
All right, I'll just stop it right here. Kind of went over exactly what happens, and he's right. These are the steps. He gave some good advice. I did like the video. I did disagree. I think personally, looking at the video, I think he underpriced his house. That's just my opinion on it. I think he underpriced his house. I think he could have gotten a lot more money based on what he told me that he did. I think he could have gotten a lot more money for his home. So I think he underpriced it, but hey, he sold it. And one more point that I wanted to make was you see a lot of for sale by owners when the market is hot. When the market is not so hot, when the interest rates are high, there's a lot less of for sale by owners. That's just a point I wanted to make. If you want to sell your home by yourself, I respect that. I think that's great. Go ahead and try it. See if it works for you. If it doesn't, you definitely need a realtor. And if it does, hey, fantastic. And hope it went well. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a good one.